Hi, everyone. Before I introduce myself and talk about this, can I let you in on a little secret? This is my 4th time recording this. Because I tried to record it all day yesterday, 3 different times, and my dog or my child was causing immense amounts of chaos and trouble the entirety of the time that I was doing it. Anyways, hi, my name is Caitlin, or kaitsim here on YouTube, and I'm back with another speed build. This time, though, it's my first ever shell challenge, and it's also the Lilsimsie shell challenge. If you don't know who Lilsimsie is, you're a liar because you're watching Sims videos, and that's all I have to say about that. But I was watching her Twitch stream where she created this shell and then obviously challenged all of us to now use that shell and create something interesting, and I was so excited about it. Like I said, it's my first shell challenge. I've never done one before, but I was very excited to kind of push myself and try something different. So I decided to make a restaurant. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I was on a Sims hiatus for a while and I haven't made or even used a restaurant. I have not even brought my Sims to a restaurant using the Dine Out pack, but I have it because I wanted restaurants. So we're using it today. Essentially, we are going to be making a nice, beautiful Italian restaurant in the beautiful world of Windenburg. I was kind of looking around at the other buildings in the area to kind of see what would match, and that's where I got this roof idea, the roof shape and having the half gabled roof, because all the other buildings in this little common area vicinity all really had that same vibe, and so that's where I got that original plan from. And you just saw me kind of spin around and take a gander at what the other ones look like just for reference. But I wanted to create kind of this fun story, and that's what really motivated this build in general. Is I wanted the first floor and the basement, really, because she added a basement to the shell challenge and she never does that. Supposedly, I don't know, I've never done one before, and I just recently found her channel maybe a month ago, but I wanted, as soon as I saw it, I wanted the basement to be a kitchen. It's what a genius thing to do is to have a kitchen in that basement as a restaurant. So the first floor is the restaurant, the basement's the kitchen, and then I kind of came up with a story for the upper floor. I created an apartment. And I'll go into detail about the character or the sim that I kind of pictured being a part of that when it gets to that point. But right now, let's just take a quick little chat about the outside of this building. So those big, tall glass windows, I think, are beautiful because that's where the seating area is. And so all of the people that are sitting and eating their meal are going to be looking out into this beautiful water and the beautiful views and the scenery and all of that. And then I take this brick from Dine Out, which I thought was absolutely beautiful. I think it's my favorite brick in the entire game because it's just so interesting. It's worn, kind of used, I'm not sure. And then I also used the siding from Spa Day on the exterior as well. It's a majority of the brick from Dine Out, but there's that small little peak of the siding, which I thought was cute. I'm currently working through the floor plan, and those 2 little bump outs that she made, the 2x2s, end up becoming bathrooms. So one on each side, which I thought was perfect. And then in the back there, where the stairs to the basement are, is the break room. So although break rooms don't function that way in the game, and the staff at this restaurant will never physically use that space, I thought it was super important to at least have it for realism's sake. And I thought it was a good use of space. So I end up putting a little table in the back in the break room area, and then I added those lockers as well, because it just felt like a space that could be used in real life for an alternative purpose. And then you walk on down to the basement, grab all this stuff from the kitchen and all your supplies, and come back up the stairs. I know there are kitchens and or restaurants in real life that do have that kind of setup, so that is where I got that idea from. It's not something I just made up. There are kitchens in the real world that have basements and things like that, or kitchens are found in basements because it is a good way to get more seating in the restaurant, if we're being honest. I'm currently adding the metal stairs on the outside up to that little balcony area that will lead them into the 2nd floor apartment. And I also made the first floor medium wall height. I thought it would be a little bit more grand, a little bit more extravagant for the people that are going to be dining there. And therefore I was able to use these super big glass medium wall height doors. And then that tiny window in the back is just for the break room because I needed another window back there, but I didn't want a giant window for the break room because it just felt a little weird to be looking in on that when there's dining going to be placed outside back there, which is what I'm fencing in right now. So if you do not have dine out and you still want to download this lot, I do have a bar out in the back with a bunch of seating there too. And at the end of the day, if you wanted to make a bar instead of a restaurant, you would just need to replace a couple things on the interior. Nothing super crazy or major. You could leave the basement more as a decorative piece, and whether it's functional or not, who's to say, but I did think that it was kind of interesting. You could also maybe change the walls, like push that wall back and use the basement as like a chill, like loungy area. I'm not sure, but it could be super simple to just change it out if you don't have dine out. I just want to bring that up. The interior, I was going for this like classy, fancier kind of like, it's a nice restaurant, but it's not a formal restaurant, you know? And that is what I really enjoyed about this space. I feel like I really achieved that. It took me a minute to figure out what I wanted to do with the hostess station. I cut out a decent amount of it because I do play with these hostess stations for a minute, and then I add these cabinets, and I realized that this other hostess station was better. So I deleted some of the footage because it became irrelevant when I switched everything. My other fear was when I had it set up like this with the two half counters or the end counters on either side of the hostess station, is I didn't know if Sims could walk through that gap. And so I didn't know what to do about it. I ended up taking out the counter on the side and just putting a corner cabinet on obviously the corner, and then adding a few more cabinets down the side there. They're from Snowy Escapes. They're open, and I add just some clutter that makes sense for a hostess, a hypothetical hostess. I mean, they obviously aren't using these items, but I'm going to start playing around now with the interior. And one thing I want to mention is my original color scheme for this build was going to be reds, like a burgundy, rusty red, plus the black and the white and the neutrals. And you'll see that in a second. I place a rug down. It takes me a second to find one I like, but I do place a rug down that has that burgundy tone to it. But then when I go to put the chairs in, I didn't like the red of the chairs that I was getting. It wasn't the right tone for me, and it just felt like too much. So I ended up changing it to green. However, the reason I thought the red was so relevant, and I just want to explain this because I feel like it's a fun fact. I've mentioned in every video, I think at this point, even though I say I don't want to mention all the time, that I went to school for interior design and I have a degree in it. And in the process of getting that degree, I had to take color theory courses. And one thing about color theory is that there are particular colors that are more appetizing mentally and psychologically than others. For example, red, the most appetizing color. So if you were to make a kitchen or you're redoing your kitchen and you want to get an accent color, excuse me, the warmer red, orange, yellow tones are way better. The worst color, psychologically and color theory wise, that you can choose for a kitchen is blue because it is the most unappetizing color. Now, what's interesting about that is, you know, if for any reason you wanted people to not eat in your home, you could always make it blue. But I feel like blue is such a common color to use nowadays, but it's really unappetizing. So dining rooms, kitchens, things like that, I would avoid any places that you're going to be eating. I would avoid the color blue. So I did add green, which isn't necessarily considered one of the quote unquote most appetizing colors, but it kind of went with the theme I was going for and it made more sense for my build. And so I did it. It's not like it affects the Sims and the game, obviously. It's just in real life, that wouldn't be your ideal color. It's still fine. It's not blue, so it's okay, but it could be better. I played around for a second with the dining tables because I just couldn't figure out what I wanted. I really wanted to add a booth, but they're all just huge and it just didn't work for me. So instead, I ended up going with these base game glass tables. And so I have 2 of the rectangular tables and 2 of the square tables at the end of this. And then in turn, I create a 6-top table over by the big door in the back with that angled wall. And then I create a 4-top by that window right there that I was just messing around with that table. So there are 2 tables of 2, 1 table of 4, and 1 table of 6 inside the restaurant, which I feel like is a lot of furniture. Plenty of places to sit, because I also end up having probably 1, 2, 3, 4 different tables outside plus the bar seating. So there is a ton of space for people to sit. If for any reason this restaurant gets super busy, I feel like there's plenty of space for your Sims to sit. If not, I created these fake waiting areas with the benches in the entrance here. Plus, I actually put some outdoor benches on the walkway leading up to the restaurant because I thought it felt more real. I am currently messing around trying to find centerpieces for these tables because I wanted to use the branches on the small tables, but on the bigger ones, they felt a little too small, too tiny, not enough, you know? So I end up going through and I find the candles that I will pull out. Not these ones, but the base game ones that I pull out in like 2 seconds. I change them to white and I end up kind of like clustering them in the center, as you can see here with the branches. And I made kind of a more linear centerpiece on these longer tables, and it felt a lot more substantial, and so I do think it worked a lot better, and I'm really happy that I did that. I feel like the way that I turned them and kind of pushed them to overlap a little bit really was nice and made it feel like one cohesive centerpiece rather than 3 random objects from The Sims that I'm kind of placing together. I do eventually, aka right now, put wallpaper in here. I've been avoiding it. So I use this color, or this like neutral color from the Paranormal Stuff wallpaper, and then I end up putting more of the like wood slats in here. I play around with these greens for a while, but I just didn't love them. I did keep it on that window wall in the bathroom area as well as in the bathrooms themselves, but I end up putting a black slat on the back wall right there. And I feel like that's really nice because I was able to put some artwork and some art and things out there, which felt a little bit more sophisticated. And then this is my favorite tile from base game. It's the subway tiles. I use them in every build that you'll ever see because they're the only tile in the game that I like. And then I use this wallpaper from Dine Out, the like paneling down in the kitchen in the basement as well as in the break room. And then I also used a base game linoleum. I never used the linoleum, but it felt really fitting in this space. So I did end up doing that in that back employee zone. Finding artwork in this diner? No, in this restaurant was really challenging to me. I played around and dug through debug and all the art for so long. I cut out all of it because it probably took me at least an hour in real time to find something I liked, maybe 45 minutes. I don't know. I put so many different options on that back wall, but I ended up settling with the eco lifestyle wall art installation. I really do think it's beautiful, and to go with that sophisticated, like higher class vibe, it just felt right. And then I used these eco lifestyle dividers with the like vines going through them as the artwork above the hostess station back there. I don't end up keeping these pieces of artwork in the bathroom. I do delete them, but I add 2 other pieces. So one is like a city skyline on the big wall that's empty by itself essentially, opposite the toilet. And then I also put that base game like leafy print sized up once over the toilet. And I feel like that kind of made it feel nicer in there. But I do really like these bathrooms. I really like that sink that I use with the black finish and then like the black faucet and little, what is the word for those? The little like things that are hot and cold. I don't know. Am I having a brain fart, or is there really not like a good word for those? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking, like obviously you know what I'm talking about, but what the name of them is, like the official name. Now I'm kind of cluttering up the break room. I just wanted it to feel a little realistic. So like I said, I added those tables, I added some cork boards, so it could be like message boards for the employees or just kind of like promoting anything. This is from Get to Work. It felt like, you know, like Employee of the Month. And then I add another little plaque above the hand sanitizer. And then there was just like one or a couple random posters or decals that kind of said that like more people would come to your business if you used it. And I thought might as well place it in the back because you're not going to see it in the break room, but if it still had that effect, it could be nice to have, you know, a busier place. And then I come down into the kitchen and I mess around for a little bit trying to figure out what I want. I added some sinks. I added that standalone dishwasher. And to surprise all of you, I add a stackable washer dryer. My thought process, although you can't play with laundry here really, is that you could need to wash your napkins. You could need to wash the, towel in the bathroom, whatever. It would be nice to have it. I also found those juice coolers, if you will, that I placed at the bottom of the stairs to have like a nice classy juice wine at the restaurant. Maybe they have nice wine offerings on the menu. I had this storage rack that comes with the game, as well as a fridge. I know they're not using the fridge, but in reality, they'd need one. So I don't have cold storage. I mean, obviously in like real life, they'd have cold storage. I don't have that. So I ended up using a fridge. And then I clutter it up with some things. I add like an emergency exit sign, a little green one. I also add those hand sanitizers. I move that hand sanitizer and replace it with paper towels in like 2 seconds though. Here it is. And then I also found there's this particular like chalkboard from Dine Out that has this one right here that has a different like food on it. And so I thought the meat would be nice so they could know like what the offerings are. And then I grabbed another chalkboard that looked almost like a specials board in my opinion. And I put that on that side wall. So maybe the waitresses, when they came downstairs could like remind themselves of the specials. I am now up on the apartment floor. And I want to discuss this, like I mentioned, because the problem with the apartment is obviously in game. It's not going to function like an apartment if you want it to be a restaurant, because that's just not how the game works. However, there are mods that you can download that are like live in business mods. And the live in business mods, therefore, I think if they have restaurants as an option, if not, I feel like they definitely have bars. I'll try to link the live in business mod down below so I can tell you what that would be, because I feel like that'd be such a fun storyline to play. The thought process I had was that the head chef was having some personal issues, and him and his child, I did a gender neutral bedroom. I didn't want to specify boy or girl, so I just did gender neutral, but the head chef and his child needed a place to stay until they got back on their feet a little bit, going through some personal issues, financial troubles, who knows. Something just kind of like isn't going their way in life right now, and they just needed a little bit of help. And the owner of the restaurant decided that he could offer them the apartment upstairs. So it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. The whole place, the thought process I had was that this dad is obsessed with his child. Super proud parent, loves their child, thinks that they are so amazing, and everything they do is just like a work of art, and they want to, really show off their kids' work and just their kids' everything, if we're being honest. So I really think that this is such a cute little space up here. It's super tight and super small, but it kind of felt realistic in that sense as like a second floor above a restaurant apartment. So it didn't feel entirely out of left field. I was able to fit that kitchen, which is a good size, and then I did a little table. I don't keep that exact table you see. Well, I do, but I changed the color of the table, and then I also add different chairs. And I add a seating area as well as a desk with a computer. And then in that weird little 1x1 like bump out that Simsie created, I added that built-in looking a bookcase because I thought that that would be a good use of it. Like I mentioned, I hate the base game or any of the game tiles. So that bathroom is like snooze city to me because it's just white. I tried to make the blue work, but I didn't like it. I couldn't make it happen. So I used those cats and dogs chairs there because they felt a little outdated, which kind of felt realistic to me. And then I also use a cats and dogs sofa in like the blue swatch with the pillows, and I add a little side chair. And then the artwork that I try to show on the wall, I tried to create like a gallery wall. And I'll get more into that in a second because I do think that I end up placing my desk down before I get there. And I do kind of want to discuss that a little bit before we talk about some of the artwork choices. But I felt like the desk was kind of important to have the computer and the place for the kid to do homework. Granted, the computer's on the desk, so the child cannot use the desk for homework anymore. But it felt like a really useful area. So that little nook otherwise could kind of be unusable in this particular layout. And I haven't play tested it, so I can't guarantee you that your Sims can walk past the desk and the sofa to get to the bookcase. But I'm pretty sure they can, but I'm not fully confident. I ended up grabbing that parenting board because I thought it was so perfect for the dad who just like wants everything and the best for their children or their child and like loves them to pieces and just wants to like keep track of all of their sports and everything and activities and what they're doing for school projects and all that. And then this is that gallery wall I mentioned. I used this paranormal stuff gallery wall that comes with it, added the TV kind of in that like break at the bottom, and then that succulent tray or shelf from the Blooming Rooms kit, the tiny living plant, and then, because it's, you know, it's a dad and he's like, you know, like a dad's dad. Maybe he coaches his sons or his daughters' sports teams. So he has a signed jersey and he just put that in the gallery wall because he's a dude and he's just, that to him is like top-notch decor. Okay. The other thing, have you ever read the description of that little blue eagle painting that I placed over there? I end up moving it into the hallway in a second so I can put like a calendar over there instead. But in that description, it talks about how like the child made that piece of artwork. And so I thought that was so cute because then you could just tell that the dad was so excited about that beautiful artwork that he framed it, hung it up in the common area of their, you know, apartment. Now I'm just cuddling. I'm cluttering up the top of this desk, and you saw right there I pushed it as far into the wall as possible before you could see the desk start to peek through the exterior because I wanted to make sure that there was enough room for Sims to walk, and I'm still not 100% confident, but at least they can definitely access the desk and the sofa, so I wouldn't be super worried about that. But I did push it super far into the wall just to make sure that there was as much room as possible for your Sims to move around. I also added a little bit of additional clutter to this Parenthood bookcase using that plant from the Blooming Rooms kit as well as some of the boxes from Dream Home Decorator on the top. You know, you just need a little bit more storage in a small place like this. So these boxes are holding who knows what, random stuff. That cereal box that I added in the kitchen kind of felt super realistic. I think it's from Outdoor Retreat, but I've never actually used it in a game. I'm pretty sure you can use it to get cereal, which I mean, if the dad's downstairs working at the kitchen of the restaurant like all hours of the night or even all day and all night, who knows, he probably goes in early to prep and then is like head chefing all day. And so the kid might need to get some cereal on their own. I also added a bread box and that Eco Lifestyle vase. I always struggle with soaps. The soap dispenser, if it touches the sink, it drives me crazy. So I mess around with soap dispensers so much. I should probably just cut them out of my builds because it's probably annoying to watch me mess around with a little soap dispenser all the time. That little 1x1 nook over there was perfect for the shower, and then I added the sink and the toilet as well as just some super minimal decor in here. It's not anything crazy. And it's honestly a little boring, but what are you gonna do? It's a small white bathroom. I do add towel over there, and then I add one little piece of artwork on that wall right there, and I couldn't figure out what I wanted. And I ended up going with like a cupcake. I'm not sure why, but it's just what I chose. Who knows? Maybe the dad didn't put it there. Maybe it was already there. Who's to say? We're moving into the dad's room now, and I kind of wanted to give him just like super not stylish, like browns and just like old stuff. I put the dresser right there by the sliding door, and I turned the sliding door, but to be honest, I don't know which way the door I know one of the doors moves and one of them stays, so therefore you can put something in front of it, but I don't know which side. If you go to play and you can't walk through there, just switch it, it'll work. That little like solar system artwork that I put over the dresser just reiterated this idea that this dad is just obsessed with their kid and thinks that everything they do is amazing, and he is, you know, showing off the kid's artwork in his bedroom. Super proud of him, her, whoever. I also have some books, which I feel like you could use those if you can't get to the bookcase, and a plant as well as some folded clothes and a clock because he doesn't have the luxury of nightstands because his room is a hair too tiny to fit them on either side. So his alarm clock is on the dresser. But you know what? Forces you to get up out of bed. Okay? I really think that, honestly, life hack. I use these like bar posters, and then I also add the dad's diploma. I figured, you know, he graduated culinary school and he's proud of himself, as he should be, for working hard and being an amazing dad and person. So I wanted to make sure that his diploma was hung up in his bedroom. And I also used another one of the jerseys. I just thought it was funny at this point. I added that guitar. I thought maybe the dad could play some guitar and be like kind of musical and super cute like that. And then I add one little small chair and one gardening box or circular box out on the balcony outside of his bedroom. I thought that would just be another skill building thing to do if you were to use this build. And now we're moving on to the child's room. That area right there, the 3 slots, I'm not sure, was like the perfect size for a bed. So that really worked out super well in this floor plan. And then I used the thinner dresser and I scooted over to kind of act like a nightstand. And we add a little like blarfy dog, a dollhouse. I add some sports clutter. I add some posters and a craft box from Parenthood. And it just kind of turns into like, it's cluttered, it's kind of messy, but it felt kind of lived in and realistic. And I just wanted to make sure there was enough for a child to do here, because the room's super small, but you still need them to be able to play with something. So I do end up doing that. And yeah, I mean, I have a lot of fun with this build. I hope you had a lot of fun watching. I end up going outside soon, where I'm going to be doing the outdoor dining as well as all the landscaping and all that. And the only issue I had outside is that the shell is a lot smaller than the overall size of the lot that I put it on. So I ended up trying to mimic the little area that you see, like to the, if you're looking straight at the building, to the right, there's like a little grassy area with some cypress trees and some flowers. So I tried to kind of copy that in the back of this lot with some benches to kind of make it look like it was already there as like a common area, rather than necessarily having it be like an added thing, just because I didn't want it to feel out of place and like there was just a ton of extra lot at the back of this build, because that just wouldn't feel realistic. And I just wanted to blend into this like little boardwalky area. So you'll see me mess around with that. I do add a grill also, by the way, outside. That could cause an issue. I hope the people at the restaurant don't go up and use it. You might have to delete it if it's too annoying. But I do add a grill and a mailbox, as well as eventually a sconce, wall sconce out there. But for the time being, it's just the grill and the mailbox, and then we go downstairs. I kind of went through, I added a dumpster. I thought that was super fun. Super fitting as well. But I did have to go on to this a different day, because by the time I was done with everything else in there, it was probably like 12:30 at night, but technically in the morning on like a Saturday, and I needed to go to bed so bad. So I cut it, and then we came back the next day. I do some cluttering of this little table in the entryway. I thought that Blooming Rooms kit table, I have a hard time finding a good place for it, but in this build, I felt like it fit pretty well. I was super proud of it, because I never really get a chance to use it where it looks like it belongs, you know? I use those tabletop menus in 2 different locations. I sized it up on the little console table, and then I also have one on the hostess stand. In the event that you are waiting and you want to figure out what you want to order to eat, it felt super fitting and appropriate. I also added a few baskets of like folded, let's say, napkins for the tables once they're set. I added a bunch of plates and bowls. I added the spice duo from Dine Out. I added the napkin and salt and pepper combination from Dine Out. I added a pitcher of water, some books, as well as the like pencils and pens, because it seemed that the hostesses would probably need some writing utensils, whether they're taking down reservations or getting phone calls or whatever, making notes for other people. Who knows? But they'll probably need them. And books could be anything. Who knows what those books are for? But they're there. And then I also just added that little like lily plant on the corner there just because it needed something else to kind of add to it. And then I think we finally venture on out to the outdoors, where I do add, like I mentioned, I think 4 tables plus those 4 bar stools. So I use the high tops from the industrial loft kit, and I make those 6 tops, so that's 12 people. And then I have 2 of the pub tables from the cottage living expansion pack with 2 bar stools on either side. So then those are 2 more 2 tops. Also, that weird little bump in rather than a bump out, but a bump in that you see there, I added another waitress station because it just seemed like the perfect spot for it. And although you don't need 2, I felt like it fit really well. Like it was used as, let's say, a back bar, because I don't end up putting any decorations behind the bar. I end up just leaving the brick. I tried for a second to consider doing something, but it just didn't feel right. So I ended up leaving it empty. But I do use that eco lifestyle green wall on the outside of the door right there because I thought it was super pretty and kind of fit the vibe of like that classier, sophisticated look. The citronella candles on the tabletops I thought was also a cute touch. I added the outdoor heater from the Dine Out kit, and I also added those like post lamps. When I put them into the fence, I thought it kind of looked cool, like they were built on purpose in the fence, and it was just kind of part of the design. So I kept those just for some additional outdoor lighting at night. It's not the easiest to see here, so I just wanted to make sure that there was enough. I'm going to start placing the benches in the back, and then I'm probably going to end the voiceover, but I did just want to mention real quick again, you can see those cypress trees that I end up kind of mimicking my landscaping in the back around. But essentially, if you didn't want to attend the restaurant as a patron, you could always just go to the restaurant and then use these communal spaces around. So you can see there's a bunch of fishing spaces. There's also the easel, and then now I added these benches. So it could kind of function as like a just community space or a park to you if you don't want to attend or sit down at the restaurant, since, you know, it is kind of buggy in The Sims. It gives you just other ways to get to this location. So it seemed fitting. But now I'm just going to be messing around with some landscaping for a while, and I couldn't quite come up with exactly what I wanted to do, but I did want it to kind of look like it fit in, but also was lush and beautiful and something that you'd want to come and see and enjoy. And so I hope you enjoyed this build. It is up on the gallery. It's also under the hashtag SimsieDino, as well as the hashtag kaitsim or kaitsim14. That is also my gallery ID on the gallery. So if you do want to download it, you can find it there. It is not limited packs, obviously, and you know, it is kind of half functioning unless you download the mod, but I will also find the mod and I'll put it in the description box if you want to download it and use the little storyline that I created of the apartment above and the restaurant below. But I hope you all enjoyed. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I do a ton of speed builds and I have a lot of fun doing them because it lets me get my design creativity out there, because, you know, at the moment my job is not as creative as it once was, and I can't design fun things anymore. So it's fun to do something, you know, artistic and design related, at least in my free time. So please subscribe if you enjoyed. Like and comment down below any other ideas you want. If you want me to go back and do any other of the shell challenges that Simsie's done in the past. Obviously she won't be touring them, but I can still download the shell and do it if you think that that would be fun, if you enjoyed watching me kind of come up with a concept for this. And yeah, that's it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, month, and year, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. And I appreciate you so much for watching this. Okay. Bye.